Good morning, church. Welcome to First Unitarian Church in New Bedford. I am Karen LeBlanc. We are a beloved community of people who believe that everyone is worthy of respect, that science is real, the democratic process is a sacred thing, that we are all part of an interconnected web, and that the light and energy we share and put out makes a difference in this world. We are people of purpose, and if what you hear today resonates with you, we hope that you will consider becoming part of this way cool family of seekers and keepers of this long dream that is our church. I am joined here this morning by our friend Yasmin, and we'll have her light our chalice. Good morning, Yas. Chalice lighting words are from Alan Watts. They are enlightened who join in this play, knowing it as play. For people suffer only because they take as serious what the gods made for fun. There we go. Opening words are from Reverend Scott Taylor from the Soul Matters, used by permission. We are all playing it up, playing it down, trying to play fair. Playing for keeps, playing favorites, playing it safe, sometimes too safe. He plays hardball, they're playing house, I'm playing it by ear, or at least learning to play it by ear. She's tired of playing second fiddle. He's playing right into their hands. Please, God, can we just throw out the playbook and start again? Sometimes we're just played out. It's not always bad to play possum. And what about playing with fire? Let's hope so, friends. Don't you want to feel again that burning within and let loose? In this moment, may it begin. So let's take the time now to welcome each other in spirit until we can be here again in person. Hi, Yasmin, how you doing?
Hi, good to see you.
Oh, yay. Isn't that nice? Physical contact, woo. So let's recite our covenant together. We come together as a religious community, upholding freedom of conscience, right relationship, and the inherent worth of all people. We value our diversity and pledge to care for one another in the spirit of compassion, to speak and listen to each other with respect, and to promote justice and kindness in the world. Now, I'm going to play our first and only hymn today. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Oh, and I'm going to need that stool for just a second here. I don't have a strap for my ukulele. So let's see. Enter, rejoice, open your ears, open your hearts, enter, rejoice. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Yasmin will assist me with candles. Now is the time in our service where we share our joys, our concerns, our sorrows, our love with each other. So let's start by first acknowledging Juneteenth. So happy this has been made a federal holiday. Congratulations to everyone. This is awesome. Juneteenth. So that's what our first candle is for, celebration. And of course, we are also celebrating this weekend Father's Day. So we light a candle for all the dads out there, all the caregivers. It's going to be a great weekend to spend time with your family. Now, let's see, we also, oh gosh, we've got to thank our outgoing board members, especially Eric Casero, who was our board president, who held the reins this year, and for our incoming board president, Steve Carmel, and thanks to Sylvia White as well, who was off the board this year. Thanks to everybody for all your great work. Let's see. Oh, Larry is home from the hospital. So if anyone can go see him, make him some food, just call him on the phone, talk to him for a little while, that would be great. So candle of love for Larry, a candle of love and support and concern for our friends Cora Purse and her daughter Sophia, who's going through some medical issues right now. We love you, we're all here for you. And we just hope you're going to be well soon. And I want to do a quick candle of thanks and a shout out to our Soul Matters, the people that give us so much of our resources this year, especially Reverend Scott Taylor and Reverend Gretchen Haley. I use the words that they write, which are so beautiful and moving all the time. So thank you. Thank you so much for giving us these great words that we share. Yasmin, any candles that you'd like to light?
For all the school teachers and the school children.
Yes.
And those who are recharging their souls to get ready to come back and tackle this again with a new frame of mind.
Absolutely. Our teachers worked so hard this year, my gosh. So yes, a big candle of thanks and love for all the teachers. And we light 2 final candles, as is our practice here, one for all of the joys and the concerns that we keep in our hearts, and one for all of those who have yet to find a great, cool, loving, supportive place like this to share their joys and concerns with. Now, Yasmin will be giving us our story for all ages and our first reading. So I'm going to hand it over to Yasmin.
Hello, everybody. So I'm going to dedicate the story today called The Rainbow Flag to our new neighbors, the LGBTQ plus network of South Coast, Massachusetts, like right there, right across the street. So this is a story for them because we're so excited to build a relationship and do what we do. So this is what we would call a spirit play story, but because we're not in Sunday school, I'm going to share it with you like this. So Harvey Milk was just an ordinary man, but he had an extraordinary dream, and that dream would change history. And he dreamed that everyone, even gay people, would have equality. And he dreamed that he and his friends would be treated like everyone else. And he dreamed that one day people would be able to live and love as they pleased. Now, Harvey's voice boomed. His body balanced with energy and excitement. Some people listened, a few agreed, most did not. There he is. But Harvey's big voice and his big dream wouldn't be stopped. And he discovered that the best way to change laws was to help make laws. And in 1977, Harvey Milk took a big step toward that dream when he became one of the first openly gay people to be elected to political office in the United States in the city of San Francisco. Now, Harvey and his friends planned marches to protest inequality and unfair laws. And just days before one of the marches, Harvey had an idea, a symbol. He thought, we need a symbol that shows who we are and how we feel. Something to carry during the march, something to make people feel alive, something to be part of community, something to give people hope, something extraordinary. And Harvey Milk had a friend named Gilbert Baker. Yep, he knew exactly who to ask, an artist. Gilbert Baker had come to San Francisco to pursue his own dreams of being able to play with fabric and sew clothing and other things, and mostly make art. Now, Gilbert said, we need a flag. Both men asked for helpers, and volunteers arrived to help Gilbert's design come to life. Together, they dipped fabric into large barrels filled with vivid, vibrant dyes, and they cut and pieced and sewed until, that's Gilbert Baker working away, they had a flag. Harvey, Gilbert, and the other activists had a flag with 8 colorful stripes. And Gilbert said those colors represent things that were really important in the gay community. Like, for instance, hot pink, sexuality. Red, life. Orange, healing. Yellow, sunlight. Green, nature. Turquoise, magic and art. Indigo, serenity. And violet, spirit. So on June 25th, 1978, when it was time for the march, a breeze stirred and the flag unfurled and the wind blew and it fluttered and flapped and flew, a rainbow as bright and unique as the men and women who walked behind it. They led the march. Harvey and the people asked for equality, and they asked to be treated like everyone else. They just wanted to live and love in peace. And they really hoped that march would make a difference. Well, 5 months later, a really terrible thing happened, and someone who was filled with hatred shot and killed Harvey Milk and the mayor of San Francisco. That could have been the end of his dream and that colorful flag, but it wasn't. So more rainbow flags were created. Some of the colors changed, and that was mostly because of practical changes based on production. But the meaning of the flag did not change, and it was a flag of equality. And more LGBTQ people began to think of the flag as their flag, and they began to feel pride and have a little bit of hope. If that doesn't say hope, I don't know what does. Our White House under the colors of the rainbow flag. When the Supreme Court ruled that the gays and lesbians have the right to be legally married, the White House was awash in the colors of the rainbow. Equality, pride, hope, love. Harvey's dream became a flag for us all. Just a little over a year ago, another new version of the rainbow flag was made near Philadelphia and in a neighborhood which they call the gayborhood, because that's where a lot of people who are LGBTQ plus live. And they wanted to have that sense of community, but people who lived there and who had different color skin, they felt left out and maybe even ignored and possibly discriminated against. So what does that community do? They make things better, which is why they decided to add 2 stripes to the 6-color rainbow, black and brown, to show everyone, regardless of skin color or ethnicity. So we here have our flag hanging. I also want to show, we have, if you go on the tour of the building next door, we have all the goods. I have some hand sanitizer and a mug, and we're just so happy to establish this relationship. So Harvey Milk, Gilbert Baker, the rainbow flag, the definitions of the stripes, and that, my friend, is our story. We hope for everyone to come back and see our flag in the garden, enjoying a beautiful day with all of our people. So now I'm going to move into the poem. So I have a poem, which is, I'm going to use it as a play on words because that is our theme. If you know Shel Silverstein, however you want to say it, he has several books of poetry, but I'm going to read you one called Asians. And sometimes if you do social media and people put poetry out, there's usually a response. Of course, you get those, they call them troll people who are like, just want to make everyone have bad days. And those are like the people who are usually filled with hate. But in this instance, because it's a religious education page, we tend to get a lot of love and laughter. So I'm going to share with you the poem, and then I'm going to share with you the responses from several people all over the world. So here it goes. This is called Asians. If we meet and say hi, that's a salutation. And if you ask me how I feel, well, that's consideration. And if we stop and talk a while, well, that's a conversation. And if we understand each other, well, let's just call that communication. And if we argue, scream, and fight, well, that's just an altercation. And then if we later apologize, well, that's reconciliation. And if we help each other home, well, that's cooperation. And all those Asians added up, well, that's civilization. And if I say that this is a really wonderful poem, is that exaggeration? And so now here comes the fun play. In response to this poem, well, is that an invitation? And should we share this with the whole nation? Because that would only cause tribulation. Or would that be ringing jubilation and cause a long-standing ovation? Are there any stipulations? Because if so, I may have hesitation, especially with my relations. And I don't think there'd be any condemnation. I'm just not used to this situation. But for your information, I'm on board. Well, do you want me to wish you congratulations? I don't know. I'm just grateful that this didn't evolve to the level of constipation. In that case, you may need some medication. Well, of course, it would be easier to take with the libation. Beware, though, intoxication. Okay, but use moderation. And if we repeat it, obviously, it's reiteration. Oh, that was mine too. Now it's complication. And if you like this poem, it's admiration. At this point, it's practically a dissertation. Well, when we care about society, that's vaccination, isolation, cooperation, recuperation. Wow, I just really only wanted to comment on the nice illustration. Well, I think this poem has caused a lot of regurgitation. Asians, maybe you have come up with some that were not listed there. So, as much as social media can be silly and cause some angst, it can also cause some fun and play with words. So that's it. Happy summer, peace, and we'll see you in the fall. Bye.
You want to read any of the Facebook comments?
Those were them.
Oh.
Those were the Facebook comments, just so you know.
Okay. Thank you, Yasmin. Thank you so much for being here today. We will release you from your duties for the year. Thank you so much. Hooray. So we will enter now into the spirit of prayer and meditation. Take a deep breath. It's been a long year, friends. I'm going to read a poem called, or a piece of work here called To Savor the World or Save It by Richard S. Gilbert. And it opens with this quote from E.B. White. It's hard to know when to respond to the seductiveness of the world and when to respond to its challenge. If the world were merely seductive, that would be easy. If it were merely challenging, that would be no problem. But I arise in the morning torn between the desire to improve the world and a desire to enjoy the world. This makes it hard to plan the day. That was from E.B. White. Now, this from Richard Gilbert. I rise in the morning, torn between the desire to save the world or to savor it, to serve life or enjoy it, to savor the sweet taste of my own joy, or to share the bitter cup of my neighbor, to celebrate life with exuberant step, or to struggle for the life of the heavy laden. What am I to do when the guilt at my bounty clouds my vision, when the glow which lights my every day illuminates the hurting world around me? To savor the world or save it? God of justice, if such there be, take from me the burden of my question. Let me praise my plenitude without limit. Let me cast my eyes from all troubled folk. No, you will not let me be. You will not stop up my ears to the cries of the hurt or the hungry. You will not close my eyes to the sight of the afflicted. What is that you say? To save, one must serve. To savor, one must save. The one will not stand without the other. Forgive me in my preoccupation with myself, in my concern for my own life. I had forgotten. Forgive me, God of justice. Forgive me and make me whole. Let's take a moment of silence and breath. Ooh, sorry. Our second reading here is from Mary Ann Radmacher. Every once in a while, make no plans. Have the nerve to walk out the door and let possibilities introduce themselves. Wander, imagine, stare. Be surprised. Parades will find you. Travel in your armchair, with a book, on a boat, in a car, in your thoughts, on a bike, or any vehicle that will take you from the walls of your own knowing to someplace other. Other gestures, smells, words, tastes, views. Look upon the world through windows other than your own. Learn to be good company for yourself. A bit of joy passes by because there was no one to go with. A party of one is sometimes the best time. Dance by yourself, anywhere there's room in your house. There is something invigorating, even a bit magic, to music, to movement, and a touch of laughter. Go ahead, dance. Enjoy participating in the unexpected. A little turn of whimsy is a gift. A quick, cool rain shower on a hot, dusty day. Enjoy flowers for no reason. Visit an old friend. Greet a stranger. Tell a sweet little joke in line at the grocery store. What did the snail say as he climbed on the back of the turtle? Whee! Play can happen anywhere. You are the toy. Now is the time in our service where we ask you once again for your kind donations toward the good works of this church. As always, you can send those in to 71 8th Street, New Bedford, Massachusetts, 02740. Or you can go to uunewbedford.org and donate that way. Or you can call the office and set up a payment arrangement with Sarah. We sure thank you for everyone's pledges this year. Keep sending those pledge cards in. And thanks for everything you do here. And if you can't give us money, like and subscribe to our channel for now. Okay, let me get my sermon chair. Well, my friends, we come to the end of this church year, and what a year it has been. This pandemic was serious and deadly, and the stresses of it have been enormous on everyone. Thanks to vaccination and safety measures, our towns and cities are cautiously reopening, and many of us have been able to get back out and do things, resume something resembling normalcy anyhow. So the Soul Matters theme for June is play, and it feels kind of like a little gift after the last 16 months or so. We know what it means to work and to struggle. We have sacrificed in order to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe. And you know what? We deserve to play a little bit. Not only do we deserve it, we need it. It's good to work, but all work and no play makes us not only dull people, but people who might just stress ourselves to death. Making time to play and relax, savor the precious time we have does not mean that you have to neglect your duties, but rather look upon it as a duty to keep yourself feeling balanced and ready to face what's to come. I don't have time to play is not an excuse. It doesn't have to take all day, and it doesn't have to be elaborate. Take a page from being a kid, from being a small child. Somehow kids find a way to play all the time, almost everywhere, even if it's just for a few minutes. If you hand them an order of service in church, what happens? It quickly becomes a fan or a paper airplane, right? Sometimes the older we get, I think, the further we get away from those little things that would delight us as a child, and we can find it hard with all our responsibilities to find that child within us, that vulnerable, innocent person who just wants to play. And of course, as we grow, our version of play becomes refined, and that's okay. Whatever brings you joy is what you should pursue. Despite our adult refinements for fun and play, I would still suggest doing a few things different, like a kid. And here's a few suggestions, if you're able, of course. When you go to the beach this summer, build a sandcastle or make a mandala of stones and shells, or play with the crashing waves. Remember doing that when you were a kid, jumping over the waves when they'd come crashing in? Find a swing and swing on it. This is one of my favorite ways to play, and it doesn't take long to just pull over when you see a swing and pump your legs to the sky and giggle when your head goes all funky when you bend it back and then come back up forward. Go ahead, say, wee! How about this? Box of crayons or markers or paints and a pile of paper, and draw or color or paint like you don't care and no one's gonna see it, because they don't have to. Let your imagination fly. Doesn't matter if it's good or bad, if you think it's good or bad. Just make some art, draw. See what comes out of your head. You might be surprised. Here's another thing. Teach some kids who don't know how to play some classic games like jacks or hopscotch how to play. Or Google one of those ancient games that none of you know how to play and figure out how to play it together. And last but not least, look around you, watch the natural world unfold before your eyes. It's amazing. The plants, the birds, the trees, the bugs, animals. If only we could run circling up a tree like young squirrels, I think sometimes when I watch them play. What did you do for fun when you were a kid? What kind of games did you play? What did you play with your friends out on the street walking around? Go do it if you can. Make this your soul work this summer. Keep a play journal if you like, observing how it makes you feel, which is just another way to make us work while we're playing. Adults, what do you know? So maybe just mark those moments of joy and play and savor them and appreciate them. You don't have to write it down. Write it down in here. It's been hard being away from each other this year. Keeping a church going when you can't meet in the church is a challenge. We have had to meet this year. Never before in the long history of our church has this happened, to my knowledge, where we had to close for over a year. And I know I've said this before in my annual reports and so forth, but we owe a great deal of gratitude to the people who have kept the wheels turning here. Our outgoing board chair, Eric Casero, who so patiently and professionally steered this church through a pandemic, through contract craziness, and the decision of this congregation to bring me on as your settled minister. He did a tremendous job this year. He's an awesome guy. And so I am personally thankful for his many skills, and I'm glad we have that kind of young talent in our community. And of course, my gratitude for everyone on our board of trustees who worked so hard this year. Thank you all. I know it's been stressful. Our administrator, Sarah, and our sexton, Tony, have been the lone bodies in our church for most of this year, keeping the wheels well oiled. And I can't thank them enough for their professionalism and organization and making sure of everything. If it needs to get done, they are the make-surers. So we love them for that. And of course, we have our garden fairies, Nancy Crosby and Maureen Fanning, especially, who tend our yard so carefully with help from some friends like Rick Finneran, who helped plant the memorial witch hazel tree in our front yard, in our yard for my son Dylan. Our yard is always so beautiful. When we drive by it, I am just always impressed at the love and care that a small group of really dedicated people show to the world when they drive by. It's beautiful. Thank you. And now we have all the people stepping up to help with our thrift shop. Joan and Thelma and Pam and Brownie, I'm sure, Steve and Deb. There's so much to do, and at least they're making a start for us so we can get back to business. And speaking of Steve and Deb, these two, I'll tell you, these two have become such an integral part of this church community. Deb, bless her soul, was kind enough to take up the heavy reins of being our treasurer, and she has worked really hard, as well as our endowment committee, to keep our heads above water. And Steve, oh, Steve has just become our newest board member, and at the same time has been gracious enough to step into the role of board president. Whew, boy, he's got big shoulders, I'll tell you. Steve has also done an incredible job with some projects around the church, like the renovation of the historical room. He is just an artist, and I bow to both of you, Deb and Steve, for your sense of service that you have shown to this church already. We also, of course, owe a huge debt to Randy, without whom we would not have been able to create the cool services we did this year, quite literally. His computer skills and sound skills, not to mention his awesome musical skills, kept us going this year, and I really don't know what we would have done without him. And of course, my gratitude to the Religious Services Committee and everyone else who has stepped in to fill in when we needed it this year and make sure we have a service every week. And last but certainly not least, our awesome RE director, Yasmin, who has already left the building to get back to her family. She stepped up to do an intergenerational service once a month and created really cool ways to keep our kids in the congregation involved. So thank you so much, Yes. I don't know what we would have done without you either this year. And I know it's been especially hard being a teacher during this crazy time. So we're all so grateful to have your creativity and your just enormous spirit here in our church. I'm sure I've missed some people who have helped us, our finance committee, all kinds of other people, I'm sure, because there are so many. But I just want you all to know that your dedication through this tough year is recognized, and it has meant everything. You have kept our church alive, and you've kept tabs on each other to make sure you're okay. So thank you. Thank you. I just want you to go play now. We have 2 months off from services, so let's all use our time well. Make your Sunday spiritual experience this summer be about playing, having fun in the moment, breathing in the air, listening to birds, and taking time to be with people who bring you joy in places you love. As much as I look forward myself to having some fun this summer and playing while I'm on vacation, and I will, don't you worry, I will. I don't think I've ever gone into a vacation looking so joyfully forward to the end of it, because I cannot wait to get us all back here in this sanctuary, to see your faces and hear your voices. Oh, that's church like it's supposed to be, my friends. But until then, I promise to play this summer too, and come back ready and able to do my part to make progress and bring this church into the future. Amen to that, good people. So may it be. Our closing words, as I extinguish our chalice this morning, are from Teresa Honey Youngblood. Thank you, gods. Thank you for mirth, for merrymaking, for jokes and laughter and silliness. Help us not to forget that playfulness is one of your favorite tools. Yes, indeed. Let's extinguish our chalice. Hold fast, church. We love you. Be strong. Stay safe this summer. Have an awesome, fun, playful summer. And we will see you back here in this sanctuary on September 12th. Let's make it a party. Woohoo! Reverend Karen, out.